Who you got? I tell you who I have in the finals with the rematch of the Spurs versus the Heat next. The rematch is here. Miami versus San Antonio. I think a lot of the Hoops fans were looking forward to this one, even though I think Oklahoma City and Miami would have been compelling as well. But we got the rematch, and it's the first time in a long time. I think you got to go back to Lakers Pistons. I think it is before you have Utah, Chicago, 98, 99. 97, 98, I believe, were the last times you had two teams playing each other for the championship back-to-back seasons. So let me get into it quickly. I'm going to put it out here. I have Heat in 6. I think this is going to be, just like in most sequels are never as good as the original. I think this is going to be one of these scenarios where people are going to be saying, looking for this another great 7-game series. I don't think it's going to go that way. I think it's going to be very similar to the Pacers series where everyone's expecting Game 7 just stamping it in, and that to be the case. I don't see it being that way. I think when it's all said and done, it's going to be games. It's going to be done in 6 games, and here's my reasons why. So let me just tell you why. First, I think Miami is playing with a chip on their shoulder that people aren't really talking about. I think Miami has felt that they've been slighted all year a little bit. That they were lucky to win the championship, but by fluke, and it really should have been the Spurs. I think this team has the ability to play with a chip on their shoulder that doesn't get talked about that much. We saw a bit in the Pacers series, and we've seen it in times past. You go back to Chicago, in this case, maybe LeBron thought he should have been the MVP, but due to the public backlash, the reporters chickened out and gave it to Rose. And to be quite honest with you, Rose had a great season, but if you look at LeBron's statistics, arguably some of the best statistics in his entire career was in that season. But he went out there and kind of shut down the MVP and said, "Hey, dude, this is how it goes down." I think a lot of it, you saw it once again against Oklahoma City again, where Miami wanted to take the young guns out, especially the Durant and Westbrook, and Wade and LeBron kind of being the old guard and Durant and Westbrook being the new guard. They wanted to prove something to them as well too. So I think they've always been up for the challenge. I think they'll do so again. Next reason why I think Miami will win is that they're kind of like the board. And what I mean by that, any Star Trek fan knows what I'm talking about, is that not only do they find a way to adjust to what you're doing, and then they'll assimilate you, or in this case, just pretty much just tear you apart, in this case from a defensive standpoint and offensive standpoint. I think what happened last year, part of it was the fact that Miami and San Antonio really didn't know each other that well, especially Miami not knowing San Antonio. I think San Antonio is always a hard team to actually prepare for because they never really play with their full complement a lot of times during the season, especially with Eastern Conference teams when they're going on road trips. So it's always difficult to get a sense and get a feel of really what their team's capabilities are fully at. And I think it took Miami a little time to figure that out, especially LeBron, how they were playing him. I don't see that happening again this year. They come with this leaving him alone from 17 to 15 feet. He's going to bury it on them. I have no doubt in this case here. I'll get to him in a second. But I think if they take that approach with he and Wade this year, Wade is healthy for one thing, which is my next reason why I think that Miami's going to win. But I think that's going to be a strategy that I think San Antonio is going to end up paying for. I don't see San Antonio doing anything that's going to scare Miami in this sense. I think what you see with San Antonio is what you get. And I think that's the reason why I like Miami. I think Miami's able to raise their level of game to an area where I don't think any team in the league can raise it to when they're playing at their top peak efficiency. There's some stat that's floating around, I think I heard last week, where they're the most efficiently offensive team in NBA history this playoff run. I don't see it stopping in the finals, and I think San Antonio can only play to a certain level. I think that they're great at a very high level, obviously, but I don't think they're able to take it that next level. I think we saw it last year in Game 6 and 7 that when Miami wants to go that next level, San Antonio could go there for a while with them, but eventually, they can only swim so far before they get caught in the deep end and they start sinking. Next point, that is the reason why I think Miami's going to win. They have a healthy Dwayne Wade this year and a fresher Ray Allen to boot as well too. I think the whole team's a fresher team. And I think that's going to help them a lot. I think you're going to see a much more aggressive Bosch this season in the finals. I think you're going to see Wade playing as close to maximum we're going to get for Wade at this stage of his career. But I think he's going to be a very impactful in this series. And I think Ray Allen, who's been playing great in the playoffs, I think is going to continue. I don't see it changing with San Antonio. So I think Miami, from that standpoint, from a physical standpoint, is much fresher. And the last reason why is the most obvious reason why. LeBron. My mindset is usually when you have a series where you have two pretty close, even teams, I usually like taking the better player, the team with the best player. In this case, I think that with Wade healthy, they have the two best players in the series. And that's with Wade healthy and with Parker kind of like on the mend a little bit. Maybe if Parker's fully healthy, I would say Parker's the second best player of the series. Actually, I would say that. And Wade the third best. But right now, with Parker coming off the ankle injury, I think right now you got to say Miami has the two best players. And I think with that said, I think it's going to be very difficult for San Antonio to overcome when those two guys are coming down full speed. So I think LeBron's going to be playing out of his mind. I think he's got a chip on his shoulder. I think LeBron's a student of the game. He knows history. He knows what the three-peat means. And I think he's going to go after it. And I think you're going to see a performance from LeBron James like we've never seen before. I always tease about beast mode with LeBron on Twitter. I think beast mode is going to be in effect from game one. It's not going to wait around for game 6 or anything like that. It's going to be game 1 beast mode. I think it's going to be throughout the whole series. I think he's going to be a load to deal with. And, with all due respect to Kawhi Leonard or anybody else, Boris Diaw, that's not getting it done. I think it messed up LeBron a little bit a few games last year, for about 3-4 games maybe last year. I think that's done out of his head. I think he's going to come out here looking to steamroll folks. And I say Heat in 6. This series reminds me a lot of, the dynamics remind me a lot of the Bulls-Suns series in '93. People seem to forget going into that series. I don't think Chicago was the favorite. I think Phoenix was the favorite. There's a lot of people talking Phoenix was going to end. Any chance to three-peat. Barkley was MVP. Phoenix overall, it had the better team. You look at the players and stuff like that, but Jordan and Pippen came out in game 1 and just said, "Yo, it's done here." Now I don't expect Miami to. Whoa, sorry about that. Bird just flew into the window just now, so that was really strange. But I don't expect the Bulls. Catch my breath here. I don't expect. I don't expect. The Spurs to get beat twice in their own home court, but I do expect Miami to take one of the first 2 games there. So those are my points there. Apologize for the bird running to my window, but anyways, we'll leave it at that for today, and I look forward to speaking to you guys next week. Peace.